All right, let's jump into it. We've got Asia session just opening up and that 9 past 10 on Thursday. What are we at now? The 9th of May. So I'll start off with gold because this was an absolute sort of chop fest overnight. And it is looking a little bit susceptible here as well. Obviously, we had this little breakout early. This was a Monday session. Nice breakout up into that area that we sort of looked at time and time again. So we knew the sellers, we know that the sellers are sitting here. And as you can see, bang, they had a chance to sell it from this level again, and they've hammered it. What I'm sort of taking away from this, as I said, this was the little path that I was thinking, sort of back, retest, and then maybe up through here. So I'm just going to whip this up. I still think that there is a possibility of the upside, but you have to sort of look at this now. So breakout, almost back to this area, a couple of cents, whatever. We got it one push, back into it. Two pushes, back into it. Three, four pushes, back into it. So, the people are trying to buy, like, you can see the buyers are trying to hold this level here. I mean, how many times are they pushing this up here? You know what I mean? Each time that these things have come up, um, you know, that would have been a big blue candle. This was a big blue candle. This obviously sort of closed as a big blue candle. This one moved up as a big blue candle, sort of engulfing that previous one at one stage. But no matter how many times they push it up, push it up, push it up, sellers are still coming at it. And the thing is, you got to look at the fact that sellers are actually moving their bids down, or sorry, their sells down. They used to be happy to take 28, then they're happy to take 24. Now they're like, look, I'm not going to wait for it to get to 24 to 21, and that seems to be the level that we're seeing the sort of sellers move down on. At the moment, and as it looks as this second, there is a chance that the buyers give up this line here because you can see that the sellers are pushing down, 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 down. Buyers are holding straight, holding steady. Now, this is not to say that we can't get a push out here because if you look at this same scenario coming down here, buyers were here, buyers are here, buyers are here, and eventually they overcame that level there. So in a similar scenario, this would be your little breakout area. So this bit here, 19, would be the same as what 08 was for the top side here. So they need to get above that level here and close to potentially see this similar kind of price action move up to the top side. That's if you're looking for sort of buys. If you're looking for confirmation on buys, you want to see it above 20 or 23.20 to sort of say, okay, look, we've got a little bit of sort of run back in us, and then you look for potential the range. So obviously back up to testing this level here because we know that the sellers are here, and then if we can get above that, then we're looking up here. So in the immediate, I'd be cautious. I've bought this a couple of times through these areas around here, around the 10s, the 12s. Yesterday, this is on the 4 hour. So if we get down onto a lower one, you can see this shows a lot more how choppy it was. And look at these reactions. They're not small reactions. That's coming down here and they're buying the hell out of it. Sold into, buying the hell out of it, sold into. And it's sort of like, if you look at sort of my descriptions of these videos and that, I'll generally try and summarize, what each market is doing in one line. Just so, to chop through this sort of like, 10, 15-minute explanation of sort of what's going on, that's fine, but you want a quick summary. And yesterday I said it's just an absolute chop fest or something to that effect and that along those lines with gold. And you can see this, look at this, it's just a tussle. It's buyers and sellers, like, buyers are here, sellers are here. Basically, who's going to win? Like that's what you want to know right now. If the sellers overrun the buyers, if the buyers go, you know what? There's just too many people selling this stuff. If I do want to buy it, well, I reckon I can get it cheaper. They're going to give up this line at 08, and we're going to see this come down 91 into the 80s. These kind of levels down here is probably where you're sort of going to look for another attempt at holding. We know that sort of like if we really get down too far under here, a close down under this area leaves it overly susceptible to coming down over here to the low 22s. As I said, I do believe that move is going to come. Though I have been playing the idea that this breakout would come through here and then we'd see another leg up over to here, so up towards the 50s. But as I said, sort of like you're seeing this tussle through this zone here. So really, the first thing I'm going to do is just sort of wait to sort of see if this area breaks. Well, if it breaks or when it breaks, it will break eventually, of course. But just sort of see if the buyers can hold this and then shoot it up here one more time, or if they give up this level and the sellers overrun them and they sort of come down here, and then I'll be looking to sort of maybe grab a couple of buys and maybe sub 2300 and see if we can get a little bit of a spark and a rally up from there. But for the moment, it's just very much in, out, in, out. Like as I said, I've bought it a couple of times and I've caught these nice swings. But at the moment, I'm feeling a little bit cautious about this because as you can see, the sort of the sellers are kind of slowly edging their way down. It's not so bad, it's about even on this last couple of pushes, but yeah, I really want to sort of, for confirmation, see it above 20. Obviously, 30 is the breakout that we're looking for, and then 30 to 50, that's the big move. That's the 20 buck. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to sort of wait for a big closeout here, 4 hour on the top over here, and then sort of try and hammer it. So, 10, 15 buck move to the top side here with a bit of weight, with a higher sort of probability chance of this actually going to this next level. I think that'll sort of really spark things up. So we'll sort of wait to see how we go through here. For now, you can see buyers are holding this area, but we've got to sort of see what they're going to do with the DXY. So yeah, it's a bit hard to sort of make a call. This is just really, if you want to trade the range, you buy this, put your stops down underneath the bottom here. If it goes down, well, you suck it up and you move on. Otherwise, you buy here and you take profits up around this sort of 20s level. And then just, that's, I mean, it's still a 10, 12 buck move over this side over here. So it's, you can make money in this, but you got to be prepared to, cut your losses if you sort of, if they give up this level too quickly. All right, flip on, and we got DXY. Just keeps on grinding. So obviously it's coming up a little bit further than I thought, but we are coming into the bottom side of these previous support areas. Let's put it back on the 4 hour, give a better picture. Pushing over the 50%, it's sort of stalling at the 50% or thereabouts. To get it to the cent. Yep. Yeah, so around that 50%, but this is also, as you can see, that sort of support area. A lot of buying here, and this is the last area in which we saw that big push up to get that big rejection back down. So we're kind of coming up into the sort of bottom side of this. And like I say, this is support, resistance. Excuse me. We can see it. This is a good example of it. This was that midway point that we were trading last week. And it's the same sort of thing. And this is the thing. All this sort of technical analysis stuff is exactly the same on every single time frame. That's the beauty of it. It doesn't change. It's not like, oh, but that's a 4 hour one. The only thing that changes is the significance of these levels. So, you know what I mean? If it's a 15-minute, it's going to break a lot quicker because there's a lot less people sort of holding that line than it would be on, say, a 4 hour or a daily. That's the only change of the two. But, the idea, the actual structure of it all is still exactly the same. So we've had this sort of pushback up here. As I said, look, I thought it would be coming down here. We looked okay. We came up here, over and over again. But for the moment, it's stalling through here. Whoop. Let's move this one. So this was a little, if I get back down onto a lower time frame, this was a little double top that I was sort of trying to sort of trade last night. And as you can see, so it came up, clipped this one here, filled the body. And then as you can see, as soon as it filled the body, bang, sold down. But as you can see, they're still holding this level here. So really, all you can do with something like this is drag this around it and call this your breakout box. Consolidation box through here. Because, we've seen it sort of come down here. You could drag this up a little bit here because it's got more connections over these levels here. But as you can see, if you traded this bit here, fired back up, well, it just sort of stopped you out. You know what I mean? And it was the same thing that it did down here as well. How it was where were we on this one? It's on the 4 hour. Yeah, so you can see same sort of thing here. You call this your sort of consolidation box. Breakout box, consolidation box. Close down on the outside, bang, fired back up. And it just hasn't stopped through here as well. So it's been sort of unrelenting coming up through here. Look, 4 hour wise, yes, that is your kind of breakout. You could even drag that down and say it's something more to this sort of effect if you're doing a 4 hour. But you're not looking for the move outside, you're looking for the close outside. So it's very overbought. It's been overbought for quite a while. I mean, that's not to sort of say things can't stay overbought for a while. Certainly it's not like it's overbought, it's got to come back down. It just tips a favor a little bit more in that direction that you could see a little bit of a cooling, or at least this whole sort of thing, consolidation, as it sort of comes up through here. There's not really too much news coming out for the rest of the week. I'll just have a quick browse over it all now. We got the BOE today. BOE doesn't typically affect, like, it obviously, you know, pound is part of the DXY, but it's generally not a massive mover in terms of sort of how much it will affect the sort of direction price action of DXY. So yeah, I'm sort of reluctant to sort of think that that's going to be the big thing that moves it, but yeah, we'll have to sort of wait and see. But as you can see here, this is your consolidation. There's a thing with these consolidations as well. Obviously, at this stage wasn't too much in there, but it's like a sort of pendulum, they call it. So it's sort of like, you know, if you look at this area here, that it's swung out the top side, and then if you drag this down over here, it's almost sort of like a pendulum, as in, here's your sort of consolidation box, swung out the top, swung out the bottom, and it sort of like has this sort of counter effect in that. So really, this is the area that you want to see a close outside. So if we see above sort of say 105, 105.60 really, but 105.58 if you want to be sort of super tight on it, or below 48 with closes, I would say that's probably going to be your next move. I mean, we could see further moves like this, like up to the top, smack back down, and the bottom, knock back up. You know, so really you want to take out the highs. Actually, yeah, let's see that. Let's put here and here. Actually, you know, I'll put it on the wicks. They're your levels. You break those ones, I would say there's a good chance that that's going to give you your next direction. As I said, I'm still trading USD weakness, but it's yeah, it's just grinding up and up and up. So yeah, we'll have to sort of see. It's not really unrelenting, and you know, you're getting these large consolidation areas. So yeah, I think the market's really just sort of thinking about it a bit at the moment. But yeah, we'll have to sort of see how this one plays out. Again, this is another thing. Gold's grinding sideways, DXY's grinding sideways. You get direction in one, that's most likely at the moment going to give you direction in the other. Flip across, we got Aussie. Aussie fired back up. I think if you looked at those that video I did yesterday, I said 60 was the line that we were looking for. I took a couple of positions from I think 59 and 60, 62, these kind of areas, a few of them. I jumped off some at sort of high 60s, some in the mid 70s. I do have some sitting around 80 now, so you know, just a little bit into a negative, and we're seeing a little bit of a drop back here. So 60s, yeah, it played its part. I didn't say it was going to be necessarily the full sort of turnaround, but at the moment, if we look at these, what the sellers are doing through here, get rid of this one for now. We have got a little bit of a breakout of this section through here. Another one here is as well. This is a bit of a double top, and you can see that this is kind of your sort of measured move. This is also completed down at 60 as well. So that's obviously completed that move. 60s, we sort of isolated. I think we had it on the other chart, was it? Yeah, in the 60s here, as you can see. There was a little bit of a sort of move coming through there. So we have broken out of this little sort of falling resistance area. Could be seen as a little bit of a back test here. Above 80 is confirmation that we're going to see some more of a turnaround. So I'll drag this one across here. That's your area where we've got a beat with the sellers. If we do decide to come back down to a double bottom, that's the area you want to hold. So yeah, obviously, look, RBA, Bullock, you know, weak stance on everything. Sort of said, well, you know, bang, and the market's just gone, well, you know, we want a hawkish RBA. We've been trading a hawkish RBA, and you've given us a weak dovish garbage. So you know, what did the market do? They sell it off. They get rid of it. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not quite sure the motivation with it all. I mean, they want the weaker Aussie, obviously, and that's why they won't take a stance on it. They're just pandering. But anyway, regardless, what's happening on the chart is we've obviously seen this heavier sort of pullback. We've tried to break this little falling resistance. We've got a slight little lower high on this recovery effort, so I would have liked this at least this morning to get up to the mid 80s. But at the moment, we've got falling resistance. So we got resistance, resistance, broke through it, retest. So now needs to break this breakout candle, well, not breakout candle, but basically what is effectively your swing high. So above the mid 80s, and then we could see that this would be a bit of a move back up this side here. This is obviously forward thinking, this one, but it would be something to this sort of effect, and you'd be looking for some sort of recovery channel up through here, something like this. But again, this is forward thinking. At the moment, we're selling down, so not point getting too excited. Could be looking for a double bottom, could just be looking for a failed rally attempt, and we go back down a little bit further. If we do break this bottom level here, if we break sort of yesterday's lows, which is the 59, I know where we got 50, yeah, 58, 59, that kind of level. You'd probably be looking down around this little sort of congestion area. I would say sort of through here, we've got some sort of action. You might see something through here because this was a little range going through the top, which gave the breakout. So these are the levels coming down through here. It's very close to the 61% of this last move as well. So if we do sort of get a sort of break to the bottom side of 58, I'd be looking 30, yeah, probably high 30s. Downside 20, but high side, sort of higher side here, I reckon this might hold. I mean, look, it could be a complete sort of meltdown, and we could see it come all the way back down here. It really depends. If we get that breakout on DXY, I know Aussie isn't part of the DXY, of course, but if we do get that, that means that they're buying US dollar or they're pushing US dollar more. Aussie is going to be susceptible to that. So we'll have to sort of wait and see how this one goes. A lot of this market seems at the moment wait and see, and that's the thing. When it's in this incredible grind sideways, that's all you can do. You just wait, because you can jump in your positions now, but you've got to be, particularly in this kind of instance, if you're trying to buy Aussie here, you're going against what the current trend is on a sort of medium term. I guess this would be your long term, medium term pullback, in the idea that we're going to be coming up here to test for a continuation. But we had that double top, so that was the second effort for the continuation. Market changed and fundamentals changed, and they smacked it down. So you know what I mean. If you want to get on board of this with lower, with a higher sort of probability, you wait for the confirmation. But certainly at the moment, it's potentially in an area. If we could see a rally through here and put in a higher low, hence this line through here. This could just chop right through here. So this is just a temporary forward-thinking line. But above 85 will confirm a higher low if we do actually get a higher low, even if we come down here. But above 85, we'll say, okay, yep, we're going to see a bit more of a recovery. As to how high that comes, well, then you can look for areas where people were through here. So the 90s, that's always a bit of an issue. You've got a little range on the way down here, which comes into that top area. And then you can start to build it out and say, okay, where are my targets? So above 85, you're coming smack bang into the 90s straight away. So it's going to be a little bit of sort of congestion ahead. I think really above 85 in the short term, yes, that gives you a high-low recovery trend. Above 60, 66, round number, then we got, okay, there's a good chance that we sort of come up here and test these 20s and 42s and continuation. But that all starts with being able to get up above 85. If you go below 57, well, this sort of downtrend continues, and we sort of see where it goes from there. We're seeing a little bit of a wedge through here, so this falling resistance has been respected a number of times. So again, this could line up and give us some sort of lower levels, depending on how fast it comes down here. Could give us another area in which we could be looking at for a downside basically target, or another area to sort of to attack. All right, moving on. What do we got? We got copper. Copper. Yep, as I saw, that lower high that we were talking about yesterday, that sort of really got smacked on the nose. So yeah, lower high through here. Back in one sec. So yes, we saw that sort of lower high sort of come again yesterday. So where were we? That was Tuesday, Wednesday yesterday, wasn't it? So yeah, as you can see, the market sort of obviously picked up on this a little bit as well, pushed it back down, and really again, it's just sitting in this little sort of sideways consolidation. Has managed to put in a little bit of a lower high here through this area here. So I think this will give us a maybe an early indication of sort of next direction with it all. But for now, I'll drag this one back down. So this is this area that it gave up. This is the little sort of triangle that it's going through here. So we are seeing obviously lower high, higher low coming into this little triangle. We do have swing levels on both. The swing level could be a little bit higher here, but that's so close to this, I wouldn't bother putting any sort of reference on this part here. I'd say top side you want to sort of be getting above those previous highs, which is 469. And then sort of obviously downside here, you've got this support area through here. So very much just sort of taking a bit of a breather at the moment. If we put it on the daily, we're right back down to oversold now. This was the big sort of negative divergence we saw. So, you know, it's at least sort of come to a sort of bit of a screaming halt. But, you know, for now, it's still sort of very much in bullish mode. I mean, look at that. It's very much in bullish mode. It's just really just take your breather. Even through this period here, you saw it just fired up again. So let it sort of cool off a little bit here. Let it run down to oversold. And let it sort of potentially sort of move back on. Again, price target's still up the top over here for at least one more big kick up to the top side. So we'll see how that plays out. And finally with China, what are they doing? Yeah, big bounce over here. Obviously, I thought they would have sort of come smack back down here a little bit more. I still think this will be a bit of a play, but we can get rid of that for now. Let's just have a look how we sort of fared through yesterday. So I thought once we sort of gave up this little push through here, we saw a little bit of a negative divergence on this last part here, as you can see. But as it came through, dropped a bit, but it held. So for now, this hasn't come in, so we'll just put this across over here. This is a little area for it to beat for a downside move. We have broken this little trend that we were working on. As you can see, there was a big move. Once it did break that trend, there was that sort of bigger move, but it hasn't been a complete meltdown. Yeah, it's really just sort of consolidating the break level here. So, you know, if you want to sort of spring back to life, that's the top side. The fact that it's broken this rising support makes you think, okay, you know, that if I was long on this in this sort of area here, I'd be a little bit cautious on it. Not to sort of say that it can't just kind of keep powering on here. So we've seen DXY just keeps chugging up higher. And I know Yuan's not part of the DXY, but still the same point. But in the short term, I think the fact that it's broken this means that, yes, you are going to see a little bit more of a dribble down to this side over here. And we can see something like this. I'm not a big fan of this actual angle. I think sort of potentially something more coming out like this would be a bit more of a sort of sell-off kind of direction. Based on nothing more than just how I sort of feel about the angle. I don't like these sort of super steep pullbacks. I find then can be next leg. So if we're going to see this sort of breakdown here, this is the level for us to get underneath. And then we sort of grind back down over here. But certainly the recovery here has been quite substantial. We did sort of see it try to rally back down here, but it's just come up and it's just grinded higher and higher and higher. Generally, when you see these big grinds, they do give that little fast move out, like that sort of, you know, up the stairs, down the escalator kind of sort of play. But obviously, as this is broken, it's still holding and sitting here. It's just lack of catalyst of news, I think, this week. So that's why the market seems to be a little bit cautious. We've got CPI for US next week, and I think that'll be the big one that the market's kind of waiting for. But it sort of seems to be like this at the moment. It's well, not at the moment, always. It's like, you know, we're waiting this week or later this week. We've got this bit of news, and it's always in a sort of some sort of wait period. So, you know, that's why you wait for these confirmations. When you get the confirmations, that's when you strike. But for now, it just really seems like everything's just a little sideways. So while it's sideways, in and out, chop, and trade the ranges. Wait for those sort of confirmations, and then if you want to sort of like trade those confirmations, they're the ones. Wait for that to happen, and then you can look to hold. All right, that's about it from me.